If you're wondering why AI is being shoved down your throat, this is the reason. Not only are they losing money hand over fist, more and more information is coming out about how bad this product is, not just for the environment, but for our own intelligence, and they need to get ahead of it, which so far they haven't. While Sam Altman and Reese Witherspoon are trying to tell you that this is a really valuable tool, so far a lot of people are finding that that's not the case. In this article from The Guardian, which is a couple of months old, they talk to AI workers who tell their family and friends to stay away from AI, and for good reason. The Guardian talked to AI raters who are expected to evaluate the content that AI comes up with. In some of the cases, they're asked to comment on medical matters, and these people don't have any training in medicine. And as we've seen with previous technologies, quantity is privileged over quality, so these workers are expected to evaluate this content very, very quickly. And so people who work with this stuff every day have a pretty good handle on what's the problem with it, stuff that the owners aren't ever going to tell you about. But the problem isn't just with misinformation. It's about what the technology is doing to us, to our ability to think. This is a terrific article by Thomas Germain. If you don't follow him, please do. In it, he talks to a number of researchers, and what they talk about is that studies suggest that people who lean too much on tools like ChatGPT could have problems with creativity, attention span, critical thinking, memory, and more. And a great example he gives, which I think a lot of us can relate to, I know that I do, is that when you start using something like GPS, you stop making mental maps in your head of where you're going. So I think about when I drive to my mother's house, like I know how to get there. I don't need to use GPS, but I still do. And the same thing happens when we use Google. We don't remember things because we think, oh, we can just look it up on Google. We don't have to remember it. But again, the problem with that in terms of creativity, the way you create things is by retaining ideas in your head and putting them together in new ways. And this for me was the scariest part of his article. One recent study found that heavier users of AI scored significantly worse on a standard critical thinking test, apparently because they're used to offloading their thought processes to robots. People even trust AI over their own thinking and intuition, even when AI is wrong. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania are calling this cognitive surrender. Which brings us to the marketing, not the Mel Robbins and the Reese Witherspoons, but the people who do this stuff on a day-to-day basis. This article is from the Journal of Marketing, which is the top academic marketing journal. It's read by business school students and professors in business school and maybe even practitioners. But eventually what ends up in the Journal of Marketing ends up in business presses. And so this article, and call out to Professor Casey for bringing it to my attention, is called Lower Artificial Intelligence Literacy Predicts Greater AI Receptivity. And because this is a marketing journal, they are trying to come up with specific tactics that practitioners can use in order to be able to sell AI. And what they found was that people who knew less about AI believed it to be more magical and more awe-inspiring, and because of that, they were more likely to use it. This is marketing kind of 101. Marketers want to tap into our emotions so that we are more likely to buy the product. What this article is saying is find people who think that AI is magical and awe-inspiring, and those are going to be the people who are most likely to use your product. But there's one other way, really important way, that AI is impacting what is going on in the marketing field. And that is because AI is becoming all about discoverability. What is going to appear in the AI information that pops up at the top of Google, and not what appears on someone's website or the advertising that they're purchasing. And there were three key takeaways that they had in this article. One is that AI discovery favors credible third-party sources, meaning journalistic outlets. And product visibility is shifting from clicks to citations. And the third is that PR, search, and content strategy are converging. What all of this means is that marketers are going to be more concerned about press that is being achieved for them rather than advertising that they put out to you. But the question I really have is, does paid content, things like native advertising and branded journalism, get picked up in AI as legitimate authority? So what it comes down to is this: no company needs to market this hard if people actually want the product. So you've got to question, why are they working so hard to get us to like AI?